Hello everybody, happy Friday. It's Melanie here from Mel's Inky Fingers. Welcome. I'm going to give everyone a couple of minutes to find me because I am late. I had no network here, and so I think I'm finally live and good. So I'm just going to make sure I'm in the right spot, and it looks like I am, and I think you can hear me and I can see your comments. Great. Hello everyone, thanks for joining me today. So we are going to work with this adorable Little Dreamers bundle today. This is a bundle that's new in the 2023-2024 annual catalog. It's adorable. I haven't created anything with baby in a while, so I thought it was time, especially since I've had some friends welcome new babies recently. So I thought it was time to share something really cute. And I wanted to show you a fun alternative idea using this Little Dreamers bundle. And so both cards are not, this one doesn't really focus on the stamps and dies as much, but it's a really neat technique and you can use it with any scraps. So it's a cool scrap buster. So I thought it would be fun to share. So hello and welcome. Thanks for joining me. When you're here, say hello so I know you're here. It's always fun to know who I'm talking with. And I hope you chat a little bit and leave some comments as we're creating together. So I only have actually I have two announcements today. So first off, Stampin' Up has a designer series paper sale going this month. There's 15% off all of the designer series papers. And what better way to build up your paper collection than to get some designer series paper? Hi, Julie, welcome. Happy Friday to you as well. I hope you have a fun weekend planned with swimming and family. So these are two of the designer series papers that are in the new catalog, and the designer series papers are beautiful, and I finally have my paper samplers done so I can show you the pretty papers. So there are 13 paper collections included in the sale. So all of the brand new papers, yes, they just came out and you can already stock up on them while they're on sale. So it includes 12 of the paper collections that are in the annual catalog, plus it includes the Irresistible Blooms designer series paper that is on the online exclusive. So you'll only see that online. Hi, Janet, welcome and thanks for joining. So the papers are beautiful. There's tons of colors and styles to choose from. Some of my favorites, the Bright and Beautiful, you are going to see me creating a lot with this. And the Inked Botanicals is also a beautiful collection. And now these are 6x6 collections, so they're 15% off. So if you had your eye on some of the new designer series papers, this is the way to go if you have a couple of collections that you want. And where's my other favorite? It is this one, this Delightfully Eclectic. It's a huge collection, and look at all the cool patterns. This is like a double collection, right? So there's 4 each of 12. So yeah, it's like a quadruple collection of paper. So you get 48 12x12 sheets out of this one. It's amazing. Tons in there. So pretty papers on sale, can't beat it. Now, if you can't decide on what you'd like to get, then let me help you. I have my product shares. I've opened up a second round of product shares, but it's limited to just designer series paper, the glimmer and shimmer paper, which are the specialty papers, and paper samplers. So if you missed out on a paper share and you would like a little bit of everything so that you can create, now is the time. I have it open for another week and then it will close, and I don't think I'm going to offer any more. So this is your chance. So what is included? So when you get a designer series paper share or a glimmer and shimmer specialty share, you will receive a quarter of a pack of all the new papers in the annual catalog. They come packaged like this. If it's a 12x12 collection, you will get a 6x12 sheet of every pattern. and it will come in its own baggie that's sealed so you can store it and keep your scraps in here. And it's labeled with the name, the item number, and which catalog, as well as the photo, so you know if you want more, which catalog to pull and what the item number is. So it makes it easy to order if you love it and want more. So each paper will come this way. Now, if it's a 6x6 paper, I leave those whole, and they also come packaged the same way, and then I put them all together like this and ship them off to you. You can choose the Designer Series paper, which is, I think, $49. I don't know, my price is in front of me here. You can choose the Glimmer and Shimmer, which is $23, I believe, and that includes all of these specialty papers. They're really pretty. You can also choose a pack of paper samplers, and the paper samplers will include all 20 papers, which are the specialty papers and the Designer Series papers out of the catalog. And this is how the paper samplers come. If it's a 6x6 collection, it's left whole. And when it's a 6x6 collection, you get, some of these are a full quarter pack of paper in these. And if it's a 12x12, you get just a 4x6 piece of all of the papers so that you can use it to put your projects together. You can choose your papers that you're trying to put together, see how you like it together. They're really nice. Then what I love most about it is you can reference the colors used in each collection on the back. So I have the name of the paper, what suite it belongs to, if it belongs to a suite, or in this case, I have indicated that it's an extra large pack. So if you're trying to make invitations or a whole bunch of a particular card, this reminds you that, hey, this pack has extras of each pattern, so it might be a good choice. And then all the colors used, so there's no more guessing what ink or what cardstock you should use if there's something that you're trying to match. So very helpful. So the paper samplers, there's 20 samplers in a set. Now, if you want it all, so if you want paper samplers and you want the Glimmer and Shimmer and Designer Series paper, I'm offering you a bonus, which is a pack of card bases with the 11 new core colors plus the 5 new in colors, and you get 2 card bases for each. So it's a total of, what I believe, 32 card bases, and they're pre-scored for you, so you can get right to creating with your beautiful papers. That's a bonus as my thank you. So I will include the link in the description of this video when we're done today, so that you can review the details. Don't be afraid to go into the link. Yes, it's the registration form, but it isn't going to register you until you hit submit at the end. So you can go all the way through the form if you want to, and if you don't hit submit, you're not committed, okay? All right, so Designer Series paper sale if you want full packs, paper shares going right now if you want a partial pack of all of it. Now, let's get started on today's projects. So we're going to dive into our annual catalog again and use this adorable little Dreamers bundle. It's so very cute. I love this little cow, although I did not use this little cow today. So we're going to make 2 projects with this bundle. And this first one is adorable with this little floating lion. And then this is just a cool scrappy technique that I'm going to show you. I wanted to make it look like a baby quilt. And you could use any scraps for this, any color that you wanted to create this card, and really any sentiment. I just liked this little baby big love. I thought it kind of went nice with the quilt theme. So let's get started so I can show you how to do this. So first, I think we're going to make this adorable A Star is Born card. And here is your bundle. The dies are cool because they have some piercing along these accent pieces. And then you also have this really nice star piece that cuts out a star background. If you wanted to create a layer full of stars, you could just run this through your embossing machine, your die cutting Stampin' Cut emboss machine, and it'll cut all these little stars out of your background layer for you, which is really neat. So to make this first card, we are going to use, let me dig out my supplies wound up at the very bottom. If you could see how I set up, here's how I set up. So once I make my project, I put all the supplies that I need in here so that I have it handy and contained. And my supplies, my paper supplies wound up at the bottom. All right, so we are going to use, again, one of my favorite new core colors, Lemon Lolly. And this is cut 4 1/4 by 11 inches, and it's scored at 5 1/2. So it's a standard card base. And since the little line is floating up, I thought it would be cute to have a top fold card. So that's what I did for this one. Then I am featuring the Subtles 6x6 Designer Series paper stack on today's projects. Both of them will use paper from this paper stack. What I love about these 6x6 color assortments is they come in all of the color families. It's a little confusing when you hear me talk about them because they come actually in 6 total collections. So I'm going to flip to the Designer Series paper here on page 133, and here they are. So they come in brights, neutrals, regals, and subtles, and in each collection you get 2 sheets of each design. So every year they come out with new patterns. There's 4 designs, okay, 4 patterns. And so you get 2 of each in all of the colors in the color family. So it makes it nice to have all the colors to create with, but they also have it in the in colors. So there's these are the brand new in colors that just came out with this catalog, but there's also last year's in colors, and you get 4 each of those because there's only 5 colors instead of 10. So every year when the catalog launches, these will go on my order, the first order, because it gives me the ability to have paper in any color. So we're going to use this really cute polka dot Lemon Lolly, and I cut a 6x6 piece in half, so this is 3 inches wide, so you can get 2 cards out of this. And then I trimmed it to length to, oh, I forgot to trim this one. I need to trim this to length to be 5 1/2 inches, and I'm going to set it in the center of my card. Then you're going to want some white for stamping the sentiment and the little lion. You can see how I did the little lion here. And then our sentiment and some little clouds will come out of here. And then I pulled a second piece of Designer Series paper because I'm going to show you a cool technique of how to pop up a part of your die. If you can see how I have that layered, it creates a lot of dimension on the card, but it also gives you some versatility with your dies. And I've done this before. You may have seen me do it. We're going to do it again. And then for the layer, I'm using one of the new die sets. It's called Nested Essentials. And there are like, what, 12 dies in here? Yes, there's 4 of each shape. And they each have something a little different. So this shape has a cool rope pattern that cuts into the die. This has piercing, and the banner shapes have a double stitch. I've used these before. They're really, really nice. I am considering these a staple. Consider throwing these on your next order. You won't regret it. So I'm cutting the second to the largest of this shape to put in the center of my card. Hi, Joan. Happy Friday, and thanks for joining. Now, those are the pieces we're going to use. Now, for ink, I'm going to use Memento Black and Lemon Lolly, but you can coordinate this to whatever color card base you want to use. And then for embellishments, I'm going to use one of my absolute favorites. I never thought I would like yellow so much until Lemon Lolly joined our lineup, and now I'm reaching for yellow all the time. So this beautiful ribbon, if you can see, it's shimmery with a little metallic strand that runs through the edges. It comes as a 3-pack with Bubble Bath, our new pink, Lemon Lolly, and Azure Blue, which is one of our new blues. It comes as a 3-pack, and I've been loving it and using it a lot. Then for blends, I'm going to use our new Wild Wheat in color, and this is the SU 900. These are part of the Skin Tone collection of blends, but they work amazing for animals and nature themed cards, so don't pass these up. These are really great to have. They also work really well for blending with other colors. You can combine blends and make your own color, and you can make it more pink, and these go all the way up to a very dark bronze shade. So let's get started. So the first thing I'm going to do is, I think, is let's create our little lion. So let's take out our black Memento black ink, and I have already put this little guy on my block. So I'm going to ink this up and stamp it. Then while I'm at it, I am going to ink this up in black again, and let me get a scrap paper so that I don't mark up my work surface. Maybe it'll come off the pack. And I'm going to stamp a star. You could do either side, but I like the contrast that this one gives. I'm going to ink up this, just the star. Make sure the star is well inked, and I'm going to stamp it on my designer series paper. And we'll save that for later because we will come back and stamp a sentiment. And now let's color this. I'm not going to get very fancy. First things first, I'm just going to take this SU 900, which is kind of a pink tone, and I'm going to color the belly. And I'm not going to do a bunch of shading, although you certainly could. And then I'm going to add a little to these ears. Then I'm going to use my wild wheat, the light wild wheat. And I'm going to color this little lion's head, not the mane. And his body. And that little tail, I'm going to come in with my bullet tip. And here's the little hand that comes up here next to the mane because it's holding the balloon. So now I will come in with my, whoops, I forgot to do this little tail. Now I'll come in with my dark, and I'm going to do the tip of the tail and the mane. And I'm going to use my bullet tip because I want to kind of go over where I'm coloring because I want this to be darker. So you can get darker color with your Stampin' Blends simply by going over it with the same color. You don't necessarily have to use a light and then a dark blend. You can come in and layer the color over and over itself, and it will darken it. So there's the little lion. Isn't he adorable? I'm going to come in with a little more pink on these ears. I love these skin tone colors for doing animals. It's just adorable. They're great. So there's our little lion. Isn't that cute? I'm not going to color that star, and I will show you why. So let's die cut these with the coordinating Little Dreamers dies. So these dies have dies that cut out all of the stamped images. So you can do the elephant, the cow, the lion, and this adorable little, I think it's, I'm not sure if it's a, I thought it was a squirrel, but it has a stripe and a colored eye, like it could be a raccoon or a skunk. And then the shooting star. And then in addition, you can cut out the tiny little stars or cut stars in your background. And then there's the moon and the cloud accent pieces, which are very cute. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to cut out our little lion. So I'm going to put this on here. I'm just going to use a little bit of 3M tape to hold it in place. Isn't that elephant adorable? Well, my plan initially was to use the elephant on the other card we're making, and I'll explain what I did there. Because as you can see, I didn't use it. But we can maybe add him because I'll have extra paper here, I think. I'm just cutting this piece down a little bit so that I hope I brought enough over here. Okay. So my daughter loves elephants, and well, my daughter loves cows. My son actually loves elephants. And so when I saw this set, I thought, oh, I have both kids taken care of right in one set, although they're a little older, but they still love their little tiny animals. Okay, so there's our little lion. So now I'm going to take this and I'm going to die cut this little star out. So I'm going to line this up and do the same thing, even though it's not a full piece of the die. I'm just going to line that up and run it through my die cutting machine. And now we have this really cute little star that's going to line up perfectly with our die cut lion. But you may be saying, wait a minute, there's extra stuff on there, but that's okay because we are going to take our scissors that we use for fussy cutting and we're just going to come around the outside edge and just die cut that, or I mean fussy cut that little piece off, and now it will line up perfectly with our die cut. So I'm going to put one big dimensional on the back. You could use little dimensionals if you wanted. And then I'm just going to take this. These are the, this is the tool from the embossing edition set, which I use all the time. And look how cool that is. Can you see the dimension that adds? And it lines up perfectly with our die cut. So now let's set that aside and start building the base of our card. So I'm going to use my Lemon Lolly ink and this cute little star stamp. And I'm just going to randomly stamp a few stars here up in the corner of the card. And then again down here. I'm not lining it up or doing anything fancy. I'm just getting it on the card. And then I'm going to adhere this down right in the center. Before I actually stick it down, I'm going to put a little yellow ribbon behind there. So let's put some, isn't the stars or the stripes pretty? You could also do the stripes or the dots. Should I do one with the stripes? I kind of like the polka dots. All right, so I'm going to do, I'm committed now because I put my adhesive down. So I'm just going to center this. This is again a 3-inch piece that should be cut 5.5, but I forgot to cut it down to size. So, whoops, I think I got it crooked. Yep, because I'm not over the, to stay out of the camera. There we go. There we go. I think that's good. I'll just flip this over and trim. Oh, I'm going to have to put some adhesive on. This piece has the adhesive because I accidentally flipped it upside down. There we go. All right, so now I'm just going to tie my ribbon. So I rarely cut my ribbon off my spool. So if you want to leave your ribbon on your spool to tie your bow, you can add it to your project by keeping, if you're right-handed, keep your ribbon on the right. If you're left-handed, keep your ribbon on the left. And then I put it through where I want it and then move it to the opposite side. And then I can tie my bow. And what I like about this is you don't waste as much ribbon trying to guess how much you actually need for your project, because once you tie it like this, you can then come in and just cut it and see you don't have any waste. Although I did leave myself kind of a big tail on this side, so we'll, there we go. All right, so now we're going to use this die cut piece that I die cut from the Nested Essentials, and I'm going to place this on my card with some dimensionals. And I'll just put a couple down the center here. And center this in my card. And then I'm going to put this little lion on there. He's so cute. Sorry, my chair is so squeaky. All right, and this will go right in the middle here. And I'm going to kind of have him hanging from that little star. All right, so it's coming together. Isn't that cute? So now we're going to take these accent dies, these two little clouds from the die set, and we're going to cut some white clouds. So I'm going to put some clouds here on a scrap of white and run these through my die cutting machine. I'm going to use three total clouds. Two big ones and a little one, but you can mix and match and make it however you want it. So here they are. And then one more big one, I think. I don't know if you were with me the last time I talked about it, but this adorable little boho blue die cutting machine, this little mini, is now available to anybody. So if you missed out on it, now's the time to get it. And by the way, I didn't tell you this in the beginning, but Stampin' Up! Is offering a starter kit bonus this month. So when you decide to get a starter kit, you can get an extra $50 of product in your starter kit. And it's anything you want. So you get to pick $155 worth of any product you would like, and you will only pay $99 for it. And Stampin' Up! Will ship it to you free. It's a great deal. And with that, you get the bonus of shopping with a discount any day anytime you want. And you get early access to product. You can attend super fun Stampin' Up! Events if you choose. You get to be a member of my team, and we have all kinds of fun. And you get free tutorials because I post free tutorials for my team on a regular basis. So if that all sounds fun to you, then reach out to me if you have any questions, or I will put the link in the description of this video when we're done so that you can check it out. It's a really amazing deal, and there's nothing to lose. So you can shop as long as you want, and when you no longer want discounted shopping, you just drop and become a customer again. So it is the way to go, especially if there are a lot of things that you're wanting out of this new catalog. All right, so I'm just stamping this sentiment on a piece of basic white cardstock. And let me see if this is actually an inch. I actually have my punch by my table now. I bought a spare so that I never have to say that I forgot to grab it again, except my paper's a little short. Let's see if I can get it. Yeah, nope. This particular one is too short. I should have punched it and then stamped it and cut my straight edge. But that's okay, we can do this. All right, so we have fun on my team, and no one's going to make you do anything you don't want to do. Okay. So I'm just trimming a banner end on this. What I should have done is put the strip in my punch before I stamped it, and then stamped it and cut this straight edge off. So I'm going to add this here to my card. And then the last thing we'll have to do is dress it up with some gems. Super cute. And today I'm using the iridescent rhinestones. Look, I'm almost needing a new pack. I love these. I'm just going to sprinkle these around on my card, kind of up here in the clouds. They come in 3 different sizes. So we will put a few of these all over. And there's our card. What do you think? I think he's very cute. Here's the little wild wheat lion. Thanks. I'm glad you like it. All right, so now let's move on to our second project. So our second project is a cool technique, and I wanted it to look like a quilt. So I thought, oh, this is cute. We can make a little baby quilt. And it was inspired by this new tool that Stampin' Up! Has. Oh, I didn't grab the whole box. Oh no, I can show you in the book. So we now have 3 additional tools for our Take Your Pick tool. So let me find that and show it to you. Oh, I hope it's here. I'm sorry, I didn't mark my page. Ah, yes, here it is. So here's the Take Your Pick tool. In the past, we've had the putty end, and then we've had the spatula end, and that's what I have here. And this is how it comes. Comes like this. Comes with a spatula end and a piercing tool. And then on the other end is the putty tool so that you can use it to pick up layers and so forth. But now we have these new ends. We have a craft knife, like an X-Acto knife for cutting. We have this perforated wheel, and then we have this really amazing piece here on the end that works really great for poking pieces out or getting underneath layers, picking up embellishments, or if you have a digital die cutting machine and you need to pop things off the mat or do some weeding, this is amazing. And then on the back side is another paper piecing tool, and it's smaller. So this is a lovely tip. And then it also comes with another putty end, because this piece, this pierced cutter, screws in right where your putty end screws in. And the putty ends are replaceable. So you would have to take your putty end out of your take your pick. It comes like this. And these three tools come, the X-Acto knife or the sharp knife, the curved picking tool, and then this perforating tool. So you would simply unscrew this, and you can screw in this perforated end, and now you have a whole tool, a new tool. And then you slide this, and you can use it like a rotary wheel. And when you're not using it, you slide that up, and it has this protective shield on it so you don't cut yourself. And I couldn't wait to get these, and I've been enjoying experimenting with them. And I made this little card, and I thought I can use that to look like stitching to make this look like a quilt. So I went for it. So let me show you how I made it. You can use any scraps of designer series paper you would like. So I stuck with the Subtles 6x6, and I chose two 1-inch pieces of paper, and I went with the pink. So I cut two 1-inch strips. So it's 1 inch by 6 inches is the dimension, and we're going to use pretty much all of both pieces. So here are the designer series paper strips. And then for this card, I'm using a standard card base that's cut 5.5 by 8.5, and it's scored at 4 1/4, and this is thick, basic white. And then for the quilt, I have a piece of bubble bath that matches my paper. This is 4.5 by 3 3/4, and I've embossed this with one of our new embossing folders called Twisted Rope. It's very cool. It's from the Let's Go Fishing product suite, but I thought it kind of looked like fabric, like a puffy quilt. Then I have basic gray, and this is cut 3 3/8 by 4 1/8, and then a piece of 3 1/4 by 4 inch basic gray. So these are going to layer together like this, and then it's going to go on the quilt so that it looks like there's a quilt border, and then we're going to put it down on our project. All right. So this is going to take a little bit. So let's get started with, and then a scrap of basic white for my sentiment. So let's get started with piecing the top. So I'm going to take this 1 inch by 6 inch piece of designer series paper, and we are going to cut these into 1 inch squares. So since I have only a 4 1/4 inch cutting surface here, I'm just going to cut this little edge off, and then you can cut them separate if you want. All right. And we're going to use both sides of these. And there's two double-sided pieces. So we actually have 4 patterns. So these are the patterns that we're going to work with. And I'm going to lay them on the diagonal and give myself just enough space in between. I'm going to line up the corners on the edge and then kind of make them even here. And once I get them laid out, then I'm just going to glue them down with some Tombow. And I'm choosing Tombow because I want to be able to slide them into position. So you just want to make sure the edges are straight because we're going to take that perforated tool and run it between our pieces. So I'm just going to put these all down. It makes a really fun card. Again, we'll line up kind of those corners there. And we may need to space it out a little bit as you lay them down. But at least you get there's no right or wrong way to do the patterns. You can put the patterns down however you want. Okay, and the rest of these I'm going to fill in once I cut off these other pieces, or you can take them and cut them on a diagonal corner to corner with your paper trimmer. And then put them down if that's easier for you. I'm going to need 2 corners there. Let's do this. The other way to do this would just be, if you didn't want to cut these, would be to just glue them down and then cut them off and add them on. Let's do this. Okay. So it's a little fussy to get started, but now you'll see that it'll actually come together kind of quickly. All right, so now this is where I'm really going, oh no, did I make someone sad? I got a sad face. I hope I didn't make someone sad. I figured it was probably an accident. I do that too. So now I'm going to use this putty tip and I'm just going to pick up my piece and then set it right back down and then get it lined up. So this putty end comes in really handy for this. And I want Tombow so that I can kind of slide them into place. And I want enough on there so that it doesn't dry super duper fast in case I have to shift it around a little bit after I get them down, because I want them to be even. But you can see now, once you get it cut, it does go pretty fast to glue everything down. So I'm just going to push these into place. So if you like to save your designer series paper scraps, this is a really fun technique to use them up. Yeah. Now you could even take this whole piece and run it through your embossing folder after you get your pieces glued down to add even more texture to this piece. If you wanted to do that, that's always an option. I'm going to do my corners. I'm going to put it right down on there so I don't. So I've been scooching this over a little bit, so I'm going to kind of push this up and make a little space over here. Okay. But if you like to sew, this is a really fun project to make. And you can trim off anything that hangs over the edge. Okay. There we go. So isn't that cool? So it really doesn't take that long once you get all your pieces cut. So now I'm just going to come from behind and trim right along the edge of my cardstock. And I like having a longer blade on my scissors to do this because I feel like it is easier to keep things straight. Okay, so there's our little quilt, almost. So now let's put the borders on our quilt. So now it's going to come together really fast. Actually, I have to show you how I added the stitching on the quilt. Whoops, let's do that. So I'm using our piercing mat. And I'm going to use this perforated wheel, and you can use either a little ruler to keep you on track, or if you think you can freehand it, you can freehand it. And I'm just going to push this down in here. And then you'll want to rotate it 90 degrees and do it in the opposite direction. If you want to freehand it, you could freehand it. I'm just pushing hard enough to make sure that that pattern goes down in that cardstock. Whoops, maybe I should do it this way. Okay, so now it looks like we have stitching on our quilt. Now you can see that it has perforated your paper, so you want to be a little bit careful with this many perforations until you get it adhered in place. But I'm just going to put some Tombow again so that I can slide it, because now this basic gray piece is going to be like the border on our quilt. So I'm just going to slide that in place, and you can see right here I'm sticking over the edge just a tiny bit, so I'm just going to come in and trim that off so it doesn't show over our border. So there we go. So this is kind of like the first little border on our quilt. And then I'm going to put some adhesive on here and add it to our second border. And this is the piece that I have embossed with the twisted rope embossing folder. And there's our baby quilt. Isn't that cute? And then of course I'm just going to put this on my card front, and this is really the main focus of your card. Whoops. I turn my end around. And this will go right here. I'm just centering it So now I'm going to use my sentiment that says little baby, big love, and I'm going to stamp it in Memento black ink. And I'm going to first punch this. This is a 1-inch piece. I'm just going to slide it in here and punch it. And then stamp my sentiment. And there's the cute sentiment that'll go on the baby quilt. So let's add that to our quilt. And then I'm going to use a little piece of black twine and tie a bow to add to the card front, just for a little something. So let's take a glue dot and fold it in half. So I folded that glue dot in half, and that way it won't stick out past the knot on my twine. And then last but not least, I'm going to dress it up with some of these pretty iridescent jewels. So we'll just scatter a few of those. Onto our card front. And there's our little baby quilt card. What do you think? You like that? I think it's a fun technique. It's easy to do, and you can vary the size of your squares. So it doesn't matter what size your squares are, you could still do the same technique and add your stitching. You could also use the piercing end and add a row of piercing to your project. All right, so here's our cards for today with this adorable Little Dreamers bundle. I hope you liked them. I think it's a very cute bundle. I know I'm going to be using it quite a bit throughout the year to make some baby cards. So I hope you enjoyed this. And thank you everyone for joining me today. Don't forget to reserve your paper samplers and product shares if you're still haven't done that. I will be closing the reservation on the 18th. So about another week left. And thank you for joining me. I hope everyone has a great weekend and a great week. Bye, everybody.